Hey everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row. I am Austin Ward. That, you know him. He's Zach Boren. It's BuckIQ. No, there was not an Ohio State game on Saturday. Yes, we are still going to talk about the Ohio State defense as they try to get back in time to play Michigan State on Saturday. But before we can get into that, Zach, it's just the challenge for these players now. They won't have had, a full padded practice now in a week. Ryan Day says they might only need one of them to be ready to play for Michigan State on Saturday, or at least that's the minimum that they'd accept.
Yep.
Guys trying to play defense, and get things corrected. This is a big ask.
No doubt it is. And I don't think so much having a padded practice is the biggest thing. I think it's the mental reps that you're missing out, right? I know a lot of times when I was playing Ryan Shazier, guys like that who would, be banged up, they wouldn't even really practice during the week, right? And they're just sitting in the back getting mental reps, looking at their reads, making sure their footwork's right. They're essentially reading and reacting with their eyes, right, without even having to go through a padded practice. And that's what these guys need. They need to be able to see things develop in front of them. They need to be able to read things. They need to be able to see things with their eyes. So I think that's the thing what we've been seeing all year, right? The mental mistakes, the mental lapses. So I think that's the biggest thing that they kind of are going to be struggling with not having as much practice time.
The second part of that is that we talked so much about, Ohio State needed game reps. Like that's how you get better as a player. You have to play a live game. They're sitting on 4. They would have beat Illinois. I don't think there's really any question about that. But it was a matter of Ohio State was looking to make improvements. They were looking to get some young guys out there, and that's an opportunity that they won't get back. Does losing that Illinois game, does that change, your perspective on this team? Do they have enough time to make the corrections and get those reps to really be at where they would want to be for a college football playoff or a Big Ten title game?
I think they do. I think the biggest thing for them was, yes, they lost a lot of reps that were probably going to be really good for some of those young guys. But then again, this Michigan State team is coming off a huge win against Northwestern, but they're not Clemson by any means. They're not Alabama, right? And so from a talent standpoint, those young guys, they still have the upper hand. They can still go out there and get good reps. And heck, in my mind, it's going to be a better challenge for them because you don't want false confidence. You want these guys going out and playing against legit dudes who, bring some tenacity on the field, and that's what Michigan State's going to bring. And then obviously the following week, we see what Big Blue's doing, up north. My goodness, looking atrocious. But at the same time, it's the greatest rivalry in all of sports. It's going to be huge for some of those young guys to get in there and the kind of bullets flying, so to speak, in that game. And then you still have a Big Ten championship game. Hopefully they can play these next 2 weeks, and hopefully they're playing in a Big Ten championship game. But even not, if it weren't for that, they're still going to be playing a game that weekend. So maybe that's against a Wisconsin team. Maybe that's against who knows, right? Who knows what's going to happen over there in the West. But there's still enough time. In my mind, 3 games is more than enough time for some of those young guys to get live reps and get things corrected before going into hopefully a Final Four showdown.
All right, Zach and I looked pretty closely at some of the errors late in the second half of that Indiana game, but the Buckeyes did get the stops that they had to with the game in the balance in the fourth quarter. So we're going to shift to some of those positives and see how the Buckeyes did that when they clinched that last win the last time they were on the field. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, you look at this. This was, that fourth quarter key drive. It's not all going to be perfect. Certainly looking at coming out of the end zone, a little bit of that soft coverage that we'd seen. But I was fascinated just on this one. Like, there's so much talk about the front 4 and are they generating pressure? They're still getting to the quarterback quite frequently.
Yeah, no, they are, man. You see this. Penix, yes, he gets the ball off right here, but at the same time, he's feeling pressure, right? The 2 defensive ends are doing a great job getting upfield, feeling a little pressure on his backside. And look, we've seen what some of those defensive tackles can do this year with the pass rush, right? Especially with Tommy and some of those guys. But here, this is perfect, man. Yes, it's soft coverage. Late in the fourth quarter, you're up a touchdown. Just don't give up the big play, right? Make a good open field tackle. You see Baron Brown come up, make a play. It's good. Let's go, play ball.
They let them get into that drive, but then I thought, from there, these are the 3 plays that really were going to determine the game, and they were some of the best snaps they played. Now, you can make a case that maybe Penix could have hit some of these throws, but I think a lot of this is due to the pressure, Ohio State making him uncomfortable. This maybe not the best example of that compared to the next 2, but Marcus Williamson, we talked about him last week. He's at least in position where he's going to make this play.
Yeah, no doubt, right? And like you said, Penix, missed some throws here late when he was on them all game long. But then again, by this point, late in the fourth quarter, he feels the pressure that Ohio State's been bringing on him, right? I mean, it takes a toll. And yes, Marcus Williamson's in place right here. I'd like for him to break down a little bit more because if the receiver catches this and sideswipes him, I mean, he could be gone for a long one, right? But hey, break down, ball luckily is incomplete, but yeah, play ball, right? This is, like you said, this is the biggest so-called drive for Indiana and the Ohio State defense in this entire game. And as you're running out on the field, especially as a silver bullet, man, you look at each other and say, hey, the buck stops here. We got to make a play on this drive.
I think this is too an example right here, like Ohio State showing different pressure. I think they went through a long stretch of this game in the second half when they were giving up those big plays, and they just they were, I don't know, playing on their heels. They weren't blitzing maybe as much as it seemed. This isn't even a true blitz there from Pete Warner, but you can see that they at least created some confusion. And then this is an example of that front four getting some more of the pressure without getting the sack.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Ohio State defense, right? When they need a big drive, they're going to go back to their bread and butter. And what is that? It's cover one man defense, right? You see it right here. Baron Browning's on the tight end. It's very delayed. You see Pete Warner basically spying. So what Baron Browning and Pete Warner are doing right here is they're playing me you right here, right? 4 wide. Me you means normally on the running back, but in this case, with them being 4 wide, it's on the tight end. So, if the tight end was lined up on the other side, Pete Warner would be taking that guy. Baron Browning would be spying the quarterback. But what you see here is Baron Browning takes the delayed tight end on man coverage. Pete Warner's a spy on Penix. He triggers late because, he sees Penix is in the pocket. And listen, this is just cover one. We are better than you defense. That's essentially what this comes down to. Granted, you'd like Malik Hooker to be a little bit, or Marcus Hooker to be a little bit better with his eyes and get over there a little bit more. But, man, look at Josh Proctor running down the sideline with that guy. There is no way he's going to catch this ball. He squeezes him to the sideline, gets his head turned around. Perfect one-on-one man coverage.
Yeah, he's been showing that. I think that's maybe who knows what's going to happen as they move forward. But Ohio State really likes Proctor doing some of those corner things. You saw it in the second half of this game, and then this is the one that really puts it away on third down, real pressure coming, and Pete Warner has been an absolute monster.
Yep, this is essentially, hey, we are bringing pressure. Penix, 3rd and 10, you're not going to have much time to throw. Listen, a little cross blitz to try and get the line and get the running back confused. And, man, Pete Warner, welcome, baby, bring in the wood. You absolutely love to see this. This is huge, right? But Pete Warner, man, I know this morning was named to, I think, the Buckeyes Award watch list or
semifinalist, yep.
Finalist, was a semifinalist. He has been playing like a man possessed all year. This is it. You see Baron Browning and him crossing. Browning gets tied up with the offensive line, right? Pete Warner one-on-one with the running back. You practice this in training camp. You practice this during the week, right? One-on-one, running back, linebacker. That running back better not stop you in pass pro. He runs through him, puts him flat on his back, makes the sack, forces Indiana to punt, ball game.
I've been waiting for this one just to get you to Pete Warner. I mean, imagine these guys they're just helpless trying to slow him down right now. I knew you'd be – I mean, it's making me snap my head back just watching it from this angle. He's just murdering people right now.
That's how you play football, right? Let's be honest. The way that the way the quarterbacks are protected nowadays, the way receivers are protected going over the middle, all this stuff. That's not legit football. This is legit football. Play in the phone booth. Come on, one-on-one. You try and pass pro me. I'm coming from 5 yards downhill. Who's going to buck up? Who's going to man up? And guess what? I'm taking Pete Warner every single time.
There you go. That's the juice that I needed from Zach Boren to get my week going. That's the BuckIQ breakdown that you all needed. Hopefully we get to see Pete Warner and the Buckeyes back on the field on Saturday against Michigan State. And Zach has some new footage to break down next week on BuckIQ. Zach, appreciate you as always.
Of course, man. Can't wait for next week. Let's go.
All right. For Zach, I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time at Lettermen Row.